I'd like to call the Traffic Commission meeting to order for Thursday, September 27th. Members present, Chief James Guido, City Engineer Nick Rystrom, City Planner Frank Stringy, and Fire Chief Chris Bright, and myself, Paul Agenzio, Superintendent of Public Works. If you could join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'd like to call the public hearing to order. The first order of business is Schedule 9 of Title 10, Resident Parking Sticker Areas. Revising the ordinance to include Rand Street, the southerly side, entire length, Oxford Street, the easterly side, the entire length, Howard Street, the northerly side, the entire length, Warren Street, both sides, from Yeamans to South Cambridge Street, Warren Street, southerly side, from South Cambridge Street to South Furnace Street, Yeaman Street, the east side, from 14 Yeaman Street to Park Ave, and Yeaman Street, odd side, from 75 Yeaman Street to Park Ave. Do I hear any proponents, people in favor of speaking on this?
Good afternoon, Patrick Keefe, 44 Kilburn Street, also the Ward 4 Councillor. I brought some of this to your attention, and I appreciate you working with me on this. In essence, a number of these streets have had heavy congestion of vehicles on the streets, some thought to be belonging to people that are taking advantage of the public transportation system and parking in the city near these T-lines or bus stops, one in particular being on Yeaman Street, also some people on Park Ave that are heading up towards Oxford or off of Mountain Ave. There's also on Rand Street, there's also an assisted living facility, and a lot of employees from that assisted living facility are taking up a lot of the parking on that street as well. So through the residents of this area, there was a high demand for residential permit parking, and I'd be much in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other people wish to speak in favor of this? Just give us your name and address, please. Good. Press the button. Yeah. Okay.
Name's Randy Knowlton, 4749 Howard Street. And, excuse me, those stairs killed me.
Right. Take your time.
But the problem with the parking around here, it's my house and Mr. Toledo's house are the legitimate two-family homes on that whole street. The parking has gotten so chaos up there, up on Howard Street, Rand Street, McCleavely Street. I mean, it's unbearable. It's gotten so bad. You have to fight to get parking spots. And I have a two-family house. I have 4 vehicles. I park 2 of them in the driveway, 2 out in the street. You know, and just like anything else, people pay taxes to be able to park in front of their own homes. And people are using their homes for hotels, for crying out loud now. Mm-hmm. And there's all more illegal homes, basement apartments up on these streets and everything else. Down on McCleavely Street, the people park their cars down there and they jump on the bus and go to the train stations. You know, so now you're fighting for a spot to get over there. The last couple of years, people from Everett are coming up and parking up on Howard Street, McCleavely Street, because they have a snow ban down in Everett. We had the Revere Police Department come up a year ago, and there was a car parked up there for 3 days. And he went and looked up the plates, and it was from Everett. You know, and this goes on all the time, and it's just getting really old, mm-hmm. You know. And I would like to see something happening, because there was a person just bought a home up there, and I don't know if he's using it for a boarding house. People are coming, going, coming, going. And it's just like, they don't care about the people that own the properties up there. You know, people just come in and take it. You know, you work all day, you're tired, you want to come home and just park in front of your own home, and you can't even do it anymore. Mm-hmm. There's people everywhere, and it's just getting tiresome, you know. But I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other people looking to talk in favor of this proposal? Okay. Oh. Hi. Your name and address, please?
Cindy Balvin, and I live at 17 Rand Street. And I am definitely in favor of permit parking. Should I tell you why?
Yes, please.
The, up on Rand Street is insane. I've been a resident of Revere for 30 years, and I have never seen what I have seen in the past year. 2 years, 3 years, it's crazy. We've got people up there that own businesses that park their car on the streets. We have people up there that they built a disabled home up there. We've got vans, we've got trucks, we've got cars, we've got workers. I cannot get out of my driveway if I drive in straight. Can't get out.
Okay.
Street's too narrow, too many cars. People are catching the bus down on Park Ave or down at Woodlawn, and they're parking up there. Oxford Street is the same way. You know, I really hope you guys just push this through. Hi, Jimmy. I hope you guys just push this through because we really need it. Hi, Ralph. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of this proposal? Hearing and seeing none. Anyone opposed to this change? Anyone opposed? Hearing and seeing none. What's the will of the...
I heard one of the residents mention McClevey Street. I don't see that on this list. If people are using McClevey Street for parking for the MBTA buses, then maybe we should add it to the list.
Thank you for bringing that up. I had mentioned that late. I did agree that I don't believe there's any residents on McClevey Street, and that's probably why it wasn't listed. But I would imagine if we don't add McClevey, then that will be the loophole where everyone uses McClevey. So good catch. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Is this for 24 hours a day or only certain hours? The proposed
My
change.
opinion would be to add it to the overnight cycle, whether it was 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. I think that would be the best case. Maybe on the areas that are closer to Yeaman Street, you may want to extend those hours to after 9 to avoid getting people off the bus line. But I would imagine we would just do overnight for now and see how, I think that will help alleviate a lot of the issues.
And I see we're expanding the resident sticker parking more and more. Is there a provision for visitors and guests?
Yes, I believe there, when you do apply and go down to get your sticker, you can buy a guest.
Visitor pass.
A visitor pass.
Okay.
Yes.
And the next, I guess it'll come up in the next part, Aaron, but I see no parking the entire length of McKinley School. That's a separate.
That's a
Issue. Okay.
separate issue.
And my last question is, I heard the residents say the commuters are parking, taking these spots, so if we make it at 11 p.m., we're still gonna have the problem with the commuters, so, but I really don't wanna make the resident sticker parking 24 hours either, so how bad is the commuter parking?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Go
You
right
know,
ahead.
it's tough to tell. I think, like I said, step one would be to do the overnight and see how much that alleviates it. If we find that the commuter parking continues to be an issue and we don't see any relief, I would maybe ask to extend that time. But I do agree, 24 hours is very complicated because, you know, you're going to have guests throughout the day that you don't want to have to deal with the passes. And you would expect people to want to have friends and relatives coming over during the day, like regular. Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept this?
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a quick question?
Yes, please.
Is there a limit per household of how many parking passes are allowed, or 2 per household?
2 per household.
Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if you have a family and you have a couple of adult children, that's 4 cars.
Right.
Wife, husband, and 2 kids, so I think we have to think about this.
Mr.
Not
Chairman.
busy, I'm talking about, his question was how many parking resident stickers can be to one
Get as many as
residence
As long as they're registered to the house.
living
They
there.
get a sticker.
Okay,
Visitor gets 2.
okay, I agree with that.
So every household gets one or
If the car is registered in Revere.
the car,
that
per
house,
car?
it
Okay,
will get a sticker for that house.
Okay.
But, I mean, not for nothing, this is just a tip right here. 'Cause
Right.
I'm getting calls from the whole city. I got Beachmont, I got Revere Street. I mean, this wood up here is out of control right now. The council talked about doing that overnight parking. You might want to consider starting something now to be effective in January for the overnight with that midnight till 6 in the morning. And that's going to solve
Citywide.
90% of this here.
Right. That would be
All right?
citywide?
Just go citywide. Grab Chelsea's, grab Everett's, grab Winthrop's, the midnight to 6 in the morning. And you're gonna watch 90% of these problems go away. All right, just by adopting. We start going street by street in this here, we're gonna have, I mean, the parking as it is now, we have some areas that go 7 in the morning till noontime. Some go 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Some go 12 in the afternoon. They're all over the place.
Right.
We have to be consistent, and this is the time you want to start doing it. We don't want to wait until January rolls around, Beachmont comes up to us, and then North Revere hits us, Revere Street hits us. It has to be done citywide. It's this time.
Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To your point, Mr. Sergeant Genino, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I want to make a point that this was approved by the City Council as a citywide residential permit parking over a year, about almost 2 years ago. So this has been gone through the traffic department, not the commission, but this is something that I know the City Council feels very much in favor of the entire city. The only reason I'm taking streets off one at a time is I'm trying to put out little fires one at a time. But I would much rather be in favor of the entire city going with this program because, like Sergeant Gino mentions, it's a problem. And if we don't address it, we're just going to keep doing one at a time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it seems as though the previous speakers all were concerned about commuter parking. I don't know what the overnight would do to help that. Most of the people that spoke all spoke about commuter parking. So to the people that spoke, is it mainly a commuter parking or is it overnight parking?
So it's during the day, I get up, I'm a unit worker, I get up in the morning, and I start seeing the parking start to fill up between 4 or 5, when they start pulling in, I'm in Cleveland, and it just spills over to Rand, and into Howard
In the morning?
in the morning. And then when I come home, usually, all the Cleveland's still packed. And then you'll see on the other half going toward the ranch side, you'll see all the FedEx trucks taking their breaks in, because you can't park there till 8. And then you'll have scattered ones up on the Cleveland and Rand, on Howard and Rand. Because I live on Howard Street, but I live on the street that there is no parking allowed on that side. So, and I got 4 cars myself. I have
Okay.
2 kids, me, my son, and my wife, and then my brother-in-law. So that's
Well,
the time that,
It seems like this is a commuter issue, so I don't know what doing the overnight would do to.
Could you, Mr. Chairman, could you extend it from overnight from like midnight to, let's say, 7 or 8? That way commuters in the morning don't have the opportunity to,
Okay. All right. So do I hear a motion to?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh,
if I may,
excuse me,
sorry,
Counselor.
sorry I was late, and I know I'm coming in late on this, and most of these streets are in Ward 4, but you related to the difference between the commuter parking and the night parking. I think they're both important. You know, I don't want to lose my commuter parking down in my neighborhood, but we also have a problem at night, and that whether it be 10 to 6, 10 to 7, 10 to 8, whatever it may be, or midnight to, that would solve the overnight commercial parking, even though some may have stickers on that new rule. But I would say they're both important, and I would encourage that we do a citywide nighttime sticker permit and keep what we have during the day. I know there's some mix depending on where it is. I would like to see it standardized, whether it be all day or not, but, you know, right now, my area has maybe 4 or 5 different times.
Right.
And you sometimes 7 to 12
You want to keep it
works.
that way, or would you
I
like to
want-
make
right-
it uniform?
You know, if it's longer and uniform, I wouldn't make it any shorter, but I would make it longer and uniform, whether it be 9 to 5 constantly, everywhere. Some have 24-hour, but the nighttime rule, if you make it, would cover that nighttime rule. So but this has been a long time coming, and every counselor wants it, and I agree with Counselor Keefe. I was talking to Counselor Guanasso this morning. He is emphatic that he's disappointed it's not done yet.
Okay,
So that's where we stand right now.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Thank you.
two thoughts. If we want to address the commuter parking, we can just limit 1 hour, 2 hours parking. Because if someone's a commuter, they're going to be gone for the day, we'll get them.
Right, okay,
And we won't affect someone who's coming to visit Council Novoselsky and parked there for an hour.
Right.
Or up to 2 hours. And then the overnight parking will address the Airbnb, the illegal apartments, the rooming house situation. That's a whole different area. But to just broadly vote to do sticker parking, the city has to be prepared to do that.
Right.
They have to have the staffing. It's a huge project. Chelsea has it. And I think it's been such a huge project. You were supposed to renew your sticker every year, and they actually have just been mailing the stickers out. You don't even have to go renew them, because I think there was too many obstacles.
okay.
So if we're going to go citywide, we need to have a plan and roll it out properly so that it works.
I agree.
But in the short term, if we keep chipping away on so many streets, no overnight parking, when we do the whole city, half of it will already be done. It might make the process easier. So I don't think there's any harm voting no overnight parking on these streets as they come before us. And if a street's not a problem right now, we can address that at a later date.
Okay, well, I agree with you, Chief. The only problem is with this proposal here, it seems like the biggest problem is the commuter parking, what they're talking about, so
I think just on
you
McLeavy
want
Street.
midnight to 9 a.m.? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion,
Councilor
I'd like to
McKenna
offer a
will-
motion
Please.
to amend the parking for overnight, the listed streets, adding McLeavy Street to that list from midnight to 8 a.m.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so we have added McLeavy Street, and the hours of the sticker parking will be midnight to 8 a.m. Is that
And make
Okay.
a suggestion.
sure?
So what we did in Beachmont is we did all day, Monday through Saturday. So we do have a night crew on for ticketing, and he's been getting a lot of people. But Jessica, Councilor Janino and I are working on an ordinance for citywide parking. It should be done by October 8th.
Okay,
But we are taking Sergeant Janino's recommendations into, into fact and putting that into the, but I think one of the problems is that Ward 1 and Ward 2, we have the train stations.
right.
And we get inundated with commuters. I think if we're going to do a citywide parking, it should be different. It should be overnight parking in other wards, but it should be all-day parking for 1 and 2 because we got the commuter trades. So I think that's what we're going to come up with. And, and we can, if we have bugs, like we have bugs with the commercial vehicles, we're going to tweak that. But if we have bugs with the parking, we can tweak that too.
Okay,
So, okay, but we do have all-day parking from Monday through Saturday, and it works. And a couple of people have complained, but the thing is that they get two visitor stickers.
Okay.
So they can put it in people's cars. If they're having a party, that's a problem, but if they have visitors coming over, they can put visitor parking tickets in their windows.
okay, Council,
Thank
thank you very
you.
much.
So bottom line, Mr. Chairman, we're going to have a two-faceted parking restriction program, one for the commuter inflicted and impacted neighborhoods, and one for the rest of the community, correct?
All right, do we want to go midnight to 8, Sunday through Thursday, or 24/7? Sunday to Sunday? We want to give the week, like Friday, Saturday off, or do you want to?
You can just hold it Monday through Friday.
So Sunday night through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday night, if you want to come to whatever, don't get wrong.
Okay, so Sunday, so midnight to 8 AM, we're adding McClevey Street, and it's going to be Sunday night through Thursday night. Sunday through Friday night. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the weekends would be not included in this. Okay, moving on.
We need to vote.
I know we did.
I didn't vote.
Yeah, we did vote.
Get the signs up, get the advertisement out, the neighbors all over it, they'll give us.
Want to make it effective December 1st? Yes,
Well, Mr. Superintendent, we'd be able to get the signs up by then?
by
'Cause that's
December
the
1st?
key.
Yes, we can get the
That's the
signs up.
key to the whole program.
We can positively do that.
You're the
'Cause
sign man.
they're only, yes, they're only one-sided parking, so
Okay.
it's not that many signs.
Okay, I vote in favor.
All right, so we make it December 1st. All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
All right, thank you. The next
Excuse me,
item.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yes.
may. I do have to go out of town tonight. And I was
Okay.
requesting, I have one hearing on the books, I believe, on,
Which number is that? Number 6? Is this
it's,
Franklin Ave?
Number
to-
6, Francis Street, yes.
Okay.
To make no parking on one side.
Okay, this is a request to amend Schedule 8 of Title 10 by adding Francis Street, westerly side, no parking from Franklin Ave to Hopkins Street. Anyone in favor of this proposal?
Well, I would be.
Okay.
I did get a request from several neighbors requesting this, because Francis Street, as you know, is a small street, it's not a normal wide street. And I went up there yesterday, I passed out flyers to everybody advising them of, the hearing tonight. And there's only 2 houses involved on this side of the street. They both have driveways.
Okay.
So, and I notified the people across the street, they have driveways. And going up that street is terrible, especially for fire, ambulance, plowing, in your case, and I only had one person was iffy about it, but I didn't hear any others complaining about it, so, and I think it would be a wise move to make it happen.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other people want to speak in favor of this change?
Ira, is there parking on the other side?
Yes, there is.
So we're just gonna, so
Yeah,
there's parking?
we're only doing from Hopkins down to Franklin.
Right, but on the other side of
It's all
Hopkins, is
over
there
the-
parking?
Yes, there is, and it's the full length, all the way down to the end to Augusta. It
So
would be
it's
legal.
currently two-sided parking.
Right now, it's
So-
currently on 2 sides.
My next question, if we vote this, will there be enough parking for the present people that are parking there?
The people that are parking there, the daily people, belong to one of the commercial people that have in your backyard. Their 2 workers park on the street. But during the day, it's wide open. During the day, it's wide open. At night, there's only 2 cars that I saw yesterday that belong to anybody, and they have parking, they have driveways to use. So they should be using their driveways, hopefully.
Well, I just don't want to have the cars move from Hopkins Street to another street.
It will be on Francis.
That's what I meant, from Francis Street.
But
to-
even if they went up to Hopkins, Hopkins is wide open.
Okay.
The other end of Francis is wide open. Franklin is tight, there's no question there, but during the day on Franklin in front of the old Liberty School, that's wide open during the day. So, I think it's almost a public safety issue in what we're talking here.
Okay, thank you, Counselor. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of this? Anyone opposed to this change? Hearing and seeing none, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second? Second. All in favor, all opposed? Aye. Okay, the change has been made.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, on requests on item 2 and 3, I'm looking for a public hearing which, this came up back in February regarding the Safe Routes to School program, and the request was to make Blake Street one-way westbound from Garfield Ave up to North Shore Road. Right now, it's two-way, it's only one-way during school hours. And the recommendation, even from the state, was to make it one-way permanently from Garfield Ave up. So we're asking for a public hearing on that at the next meeting. And the number 3 item was a residential permit parking on Hillside Ave. We're not doing the full length of the street. If you know Hillside Ave, it's probably only 20 feet, if that much, in some spots at the top. So we're doing it from where the street thins out down to the bottom of the street. So it's from number 48, I'm sorry, the other way around. It's from number 48 up to number 78, which is the dead end. What's happening is the new apartment houses down at the bottom, the folks, there's not enough parking down there for them because they have so many cars, and the owner didn't provide enough parking for the entire building. And they're pulling up all the way up the dead end of the street, and the people that live up there at times cannot park. So they're asking for residential parking up there.
Okay. When we get to those, I'm sure we'll move those
Yeah,
to
we're just looking
public
for a
hearing.
public hearing
Yeah,
on it. So
I'm sure we'll move
if you
those
could do that, we'd appreciate
Mr.
it.
Chairman, I'll make a motion now. We order items number 2 and 3 to a public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Second, all in favor, all opposed? Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
thank you. Okay, we'll go back to the regular order of business. Number 2, amend Title 10, Schedule 8, and make the appropriate corrections. This has been on the agenda a couple of times. These are the corrections for Yeaman Street. Sergeant Giannino, I think you kind of looked into
I took a
these.
walk down Yeaman Street the other day. First one, Yeaman Street easterly, a point 10 meters south of Park Avenue. Park Ave, no parking anytime. Delete it, because right now there's a no parking 20 feet to the corner,
Okay,
and then the 2-hour parking starts. So I'm recommending delete the first one.
delete that, okay.
Second one's Yeaman Street northerly, Broadway, 45 feet west, no parking anytime. Delete that one, because there's a 20-foot from the corner already, which is already a state law. Then there's a handicap sign there.
Okay,
I believe that was put into place when the Yeaman was two-way.
okay,
The third one, Yeaman Street southerly, Broadway, 60-foot west, no parking. Recommend delete that one also.
delete,
Third one, Yeaman Street north side, Vane Street, no parking anytime. Delete that one, it's not there.
okay,
Fourth one's Yeaman Street westerly, in Tyler to McKinley School. This is for school parking. School's not there anymore. Delete that one. And the last one's the Yeaman Street southerly, Broadway, 20 feet, Yeaman Street parking lot, 2-hour parking. This has to be changed over. Yeaman Street entrance, southerly, Broadway, 14 Yeaman Street to parking. Should be 2-hour parking from the 20 feet in. So that one they can stay.
that can stay. So from Broadway to 14 is going to be 2-hour parking, and then we just passed resident stick parking from 14 on.
Yeah, there's a 20-foot section right there.
Right.
From Broadway, 20 feet in, then it starts up to 14 for 2-hour parking.
And that would remain.
That's the only one involved, and it really,
Pertains to anything, okay? Do I hear a motion to accept these changes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Chief Farrell.
I'm glad that we're cleaning this up. I was actually going to make this recommendation in front of McKinley School. This might help the stadium situation, but we're going to have to do something with the yellow curb
Okay,
so people will know that they can park there, and it'll allow extra parking for the stadium and people can walk over.
okay,
So this will be a big help, that you can park all the way down Yeaman Street.
okay,
I went to the fire lane section for the old McKinley School also, and measured off the building. The fire lane for McKinley School is from the foundation, 30 feet out around the whole school. On Yeaman Street, 30 feet out is from the foundation to the grass. The street's 42 feet out, so we don't even affect the fire lane over there.
It's not an active school, so I'll yield to the fire chief, but I don't think that applies. I know, but it's not a school right now.
Okay, so we're deleting
It's
the
an
fire lane.
abandoned building.
We're gonna delete the fire lane, too.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to accept these deletions?
Motion.
Motion, second?
Second.
Do we want to change the fire lane over to new school?
All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
Put it on the books for new school now, the 33rd.
That'll have to be next month.
All right, do we want to, we were changing it from the school, and that is the new school. The other schools were all written up as from the foundation 30 feet out, and it covers you all around the school. We could have the same way, the Hill School on Park Avenue, fire lane 30 feet out, same way. Put it to a hearing next meeting.
Okay, move that to a hearing. All in favor, all opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to amend number 3. Amend Title 10, Schedule 9, resident sticker parking areas by adding Brad Street Ave entire length, Monday through Friday. Any people wishing to speak in favor?
Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Counselor. If we could take up that, number 3, and the request, because that's on there too, the
Okay.
request that's after number 6. So, what's happened, 30 years ago, former Rita Singer, Councilor Rita Singer, put an amendment on an ordinance that Brad Street, Crest, and Bellingham could park on the sidewalk because it's so narrow. A couple of years ago, we adopted, the state made an ADA law that says now that you cannot park on sidewalks anymore.
Correct.
So I got a number of calls. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? So I suggested that we make, and it was, I think, Sergeant Janino and Jimmy Mercurio, who drives the plow, and a couple other people suggested that we make Brad Street and Crest Ave a one-way with permit parking. And I would ask that Sergeant Janino and Chief Guido come up and help me with this. But the residents took it upon themselves to go door to door and get a petition. They got over 100 signatures on the 2 streets that everybody's in compliance with this. Because now that they can't park on the sidewalk because they've been warned by the parking clerk that they can't park on the sidewalk anymore, everybody's concerned about the winter, the snow days.
Okay.
That's what I'm recommending. If Ralph wants to talk about this law, just to clarify, so some people understand what's going on with the sidewalk parking, because we're eliminating sidewalk parking.
Okay, just a question, how would resident parking help the width of the street, or?
Because that would eliminate some of the cars. So we have a lot of Airbnbs up there. We have a lot of rooming houses up there. So not everybody in those rooming houses and the Airbnb places up there can get sticker parking.
Okay.
So this would help the residents to get sticker parking and park in front of their house. But like I said, and we also have commuters that are parking in front of residents' housing up there and going to the train station. So eventually, I want to make Beachmont all permit parking
Okay, but for now, we're just addressing Brad Street Ave.
and Crest. I want to add Crest on there. Crest is on the request after 6.
Next month.
Crest Ave would be for next month. I don't,
One of the requests.
It's on a
oh, it's on a
request.
request, okay. But for now, we're doing Brad Street.
And would that, and can I request a public hearing during that time too? With making Brad Street and Crest a one-way with permit parking on both streets?
Well, at that meeting, you can put in a request to add or can we do that now?
Mr. Chairman,
That's on the request now, okay.
Let's handle number 3 first.
We're gonna
Okay.
handle Brad Street Ave right now.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, let's set up a hearing for next month, table this, and do everything at once. And then between now and the next traffic commission meeting, myself and Sergeant Janino will go up there and look at the proposed one-ways
Okay,
and see if we can get some order up there. Because if we don't allow the people to park two wheels on the sidewalk, then we're gonna have to go to one-sided parking, or the snowplow will not be able to go up and down those streets. We've had this problem for years and years and years.
okay, so,
Now it's off the books.
okay, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's off the books now. There's nothing, and Ralph can address that, so the public will know.
Ralph, would you like to?
It's actually not a City of Revere law. It's not a state of Massachusetts law. It's an ADA law that it's an ADA violation to park even two wheels on a sidewalk. So when that was done, it was illicitly put on the books. That should have never been done. So it's an ADA violation. So in order to be compliant with the City of Revere, you cannot have anything on the books that vehicles are supposed to be parking on sidewalks. And it's not just a Revere issue, it's a citywide issue through all the cities and towns within not only the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but most of the states in the US. So in order to be compliant, we had six, I believe there was only 6 streets that were on our books that allowed for 2 tires to be parked on the sidewalk, which should have never been done years ago. So we're just becoming ADA compliant, so it's not a City of Revere's doing to do that. It's an ADA law that needs to be enforced, because what could happen is somebody could file a grievance against the City of Revere, and Revere would become liable.
Okay, thank you very much, Ralph.
One more thing, please. I don't know how this works, but can I request, like Dolphin Ave, to be the whole length of permit parking too, for the next meeting? Can I do that now?
A late communication.
A late communication?
Yeah.
Yes, I guess that's what it is.
So let's see, so that's Dolphin Avenue.
Dolphin Ave, the whole length. Right now, it's half a street, and there's just like maybe 2 blocks that...
Permit parking.
parking, yes.
Times, days,
It would be compliant to what's there now.
what's there now? Okay, so,
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, I guess it was done, but
okay,
there's no
so you're saying
signs.
that this was passed and the signs haven't gone up yet?
Here, come up here.
My name's Nicole Weinstein, 102 Dolphin Ave. They're parking in front of my home. I cannot even get into my parking spot. The trained people are parking there without, and they're telling me that they don't have the right to park there because the signs are not there.
Okay, so it's
They
just...
have the right to park there, and I said, no, you do not. I showed him my sticker, and he said there's no sign on
Okay, so Sergeant Janino will research that. If that in fact is the
very
case, we will certainly put the signs up. And then I believe, do I hear a motion? We're going to table the Brad?
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry, Frank. Are we leaving any parking for the senior housing building
That's
on
the
the
other.
street? I can't be for this.
Okay,
We need to leave a reasonable amount of spaces in front of that building during the day to be parking for anyone. Maybe not overnight, but you can't just shut the whole city down. And if you live here, you can come. If you don't even drive in the city. We have to think about this. That building gets a lot of visitors. People go visit their loved ones, and they need a place to park.
So this was done, I think, last year, that it's already been done. It's in the books, but just to help with that, they do have a parking lot in the back, and there is a parking lot across the street, which I'm going to try to get some money to make it like a municipal parking lot, because it's a parking lot. I don't know. I really don't know, but it's an empty, I think FEMA, it used to be there was a house there, and FEMA took it down, and now people are parking there. It's like a parking lot. It's on the corner of Dolphin Ave and
Wave.
Waive, yes. So I think there's plenty of parking, but we could put signs, but I think people would take advantage of that if we could put signs in front of the old age home for visitors parking 2 hours. So, yeah, something like that, like they did at Beachmont School. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counsel.
Read it? I can't see, I can't see. Oh, it says, yeah, thank you. I don't have my
Dolphin Avenue is
glasses.
all, okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, if that's the case, we should look at this and maybe make a couple of visitor spaces, or look into who owns the piece of property. If it's a non-buildable lot, maybe the city could acquire it, or the housing authority, and use it for parking.
Okay, so where we stand right now is Dolphin Avenue is currently sticker parking, so we will certainly put the signs up. We're
You
gonna,
can't, what about the plows as well? Like, we can't park on the curbs or anything like that.
right,
I literally got, my mirrors, I already got a chip in my mirror. I've gotten this close to a car. I mean, and they fly down Dolphin as it is. I mean, I'm gonna get killed one day. It's bad, it's too narrow, you gotta do something on that street. It's, no sidewalks,
okay.
it's bad.
Sounds like we have problems, but,
Yes, I mean, for me, I'm a heart patient. I could never have, I already had a heart attack, a stroke, and a stroke.
okay.
For me to ever have an ambulance come in, there's no way, with a plow.
Okay,
Maybe we can look at one-side parking, because I don't think, on one side, I don't think there's a lot of houses. On where she lives, there's a lot of houses, but on the other side, I don't think there's really many houses.
all right. Ma'am, did you want to say something?
My name is Paula Roberts. I live at 12 Dolphin Avenue, and I
Okay.
live just before the senior building. And I asked, what should we do when it's, also, the other problem is, what do we do when it's street cleaning day? Because, you know, what I was told was that we should absolutely, on our end, it's too narrow to fit 2 cars, but you can do it. You can just barely fit 2 cars, and a third car can go down the center if you're really parked well. And that's what we did last street cleaning day. But if an ambulance had to get to that senior building, forget it. The people would be dead, because you couldn't do it. You couldn't fit them.
Okay,
But my side is the only side with people living on it.
all right.
I live in an apartment building. There are 6 apartments in our building. I've lived there for 20 years, so I'm not a short-term person in the city. But the other side is my block. There are 2 places on the side. There's the senior building, and there's one house that has a driveway in the back going onto Atlantic
Okay.
or whatever it is. But if you take away that whole side for parking, there's no place for, my block is all apartment buildings,
Okay,
and there just aren't enough spaces for everybody.
okay. So what we'll do here now, we'll
Thank you.
concentrate, oh, you're welcome. Concentrate on the agenda here. Do I hear a motion to table the Brad Street Ave entire length until next meeting?
Counsel, is that okay with you?
Well, apparently Brad Street Ave, both sides, is already. You figured that, okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you. Brad Street Ave and Crest Ave, as far as the one-way, obviously they're going to be alternating one-ways, but I'll defer to the Ward 1 counselor and the police chief and Sergeant Janino to go up there and decide which one goes south and which one heads north. From my experience, and I don't think the Ward 1 counselor can probably better explain, but I think more people come up Brad Street Avenue heading south and then come down Crescent Avenue,
Okay,
Crest
well,
Ave heading.
We're going to move that to a public hearing next meeting, so.
Right.
I
So
think
we have to
can all-
decide which way they're gonna go.
Yeah, so, okay. So do you want to decide now, so then the public hearing?
Either we do it now, or we have Cy Janino, Ward One Counselor, and Chief Guida go up there and make a determination.
My biggest thing is, I think that, you're right, Frank, I think that coming up from State Road should be the one-way coming up to Brad Street Ave, and then Crest is already a one-way going down. So we should keep it that way. But my biggest concern is, where do we start? When we're coming up from Winthrop Ave to Summer Street, do we start right there, or do we go a block away and then start, I don't know where to start with that. So that's why I want the experts up there to kind of help me with that.
Okay, thank you. So it's a moot point here with Brad Street Ave, because that's already been done a while ago, so we'll put the signs up there for sticker parking. And we'll move this request number 1 to a public hearing next meeting to make these streets one-way and discuss and have further discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if we're going to do this, I'd like to add Endicott Ave, so we can finally, after 20 years, resolve the situation there in the winter, when the floodgates are closed.
Okay, Chris, do you have that? We're going to advertise. And we're going to move this all to a public hearing. Late communication, okay. Late communication to add this in.
Before we do, can we have the police chief, Sergeant Nino, and Ward One Counselor Joanne McKenna go up there and agree on which way these one-ways are gonna go, Endicott Avenue and Crest and Brad Street?
Are we
Frank,
able
I
to
think you should join us.
Okay.
All 4 of us, Mr. Chairman. You're welcome to come also,
Thanks.
since you have to plow the streets.
Okay,
And maybe the fire chief should come too, because it affects him. This is a very serious situation.
okay. So are we able to move this to a public hearing, Chris, or do we have to make this determination first? Which way can we move it to a public hearing?
To discuss it.
You could advertise it as one-way for public hearings,
Okay,
go up there and discuss it. If you're not in agreement by next public hearing, we can just put it to the next one.
okay, fine. So we'll this will go to a public hearing at our next meeting, and we will discuss Brad Street, Crest Ave, Endicott, one-way traffic flow, and permit parking.
One more point of information, Mr. Chairman. Those 2 lots on Wave Ave, they're owned by the Housing Authority, so they're parking for the Housing Authority.
Perfect.
Perfect. Well, that wouldn't be the traffic commission. All right.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor, all opposed to go to a public hearing for this? Aye, second?
Second.
All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. And Dolphin Avenue, which currently has sticker parking, shall the signs go up, or will that be further discussion? We seem to have some difference of, okay,
Well,
we'll put the signs up, okay?
Mr. Chairman, we've just heard testimony that 2-sided parking's not working there, so we shouldn't go put up signs until we determine if we're gonna have 1-sided parking or 2-sided parking. So I'll yield to the ward counselor, but it affects the fire department, it affects snow plowing. So we should probably evaluate if we should even have 2-sided parking there.
We're talking about permit parking, but
I
there's
understand, but we
discussion.
have to decide where the permit parking is.
Right. There's some discussion about going to 1-sided parking. Joanne, do you have a opinion as far as it should go to 1-sided parking?
I just suggested it. It is a narrow street, but like my friend over here said, if we do that, she's going to lose a lot of her parking. So I would suggest that in front of the old age home, the senior home, that we put a couple of signs there that says visitor parking. And, I mean, we can look at that too.
Okay, so
Since we're in Beechmont, Jimmy, we can look at that too.
I understand, but if the housing authority has a couple of places we could have parking lots,
Right,
We could probably work with the housing authority that the residents could use the lots in the nighttime
right.
and try to clean up each area a little at a time before
Okay.
something happens.
All right, so we'll move on. All right. Let's see, where am I? Chris? There's 3, number 4.
Sorry, hi, I'm Sonia Guzman.
Yes.
And my mother lives in Wave Ave, 26 Wave Ave. I live in Oak Island. I drop off my kids at her house, and the only place where I can park is usually Dolphin, somewhere that doesn't say residential parking.
Okay.
Am I allowed to park in Wave Ave?
I don't know what the
not
parking
sure.
restrictions off the top of my head are on Wave Avenue. I believe that's one-sided parking. Just bear with us one moment. Wave Avenue is resident sticker parking, both sides, the entire length.
So even if I live in Oak Island, I can't, or can I park there?
You can have your mom get you a visitor pass.
You can get a visitor pass from your mother.
Okay, but I work full-time, she watches my kids full-time.
Do you park your car there? Or
I park my car there.
you get a visitor parking sticker?
But it's only good for 10 days out of a month.
It's good for 2 weeks. Okay. When you say it's good for 2 weeks,
Visitor pass goes like 10 days out of 2 weeks. It's 5 days a week, 5 weekdays, so it's 2 weeks. It's good for it. Then they have to they get ticketed.
then they get ticketed, okay. So you live in Oak Island, you bring your car to Wave Avenue, and then your mother watches your
I drop off
kids?
my kids, and then I take the train, come back,
Then you take the train,
and
okay.
then go back home.
That's what the problem is.
Yeah, but I live
You
in
have to go
Revere.
back, drop your kids off, put your car back at Oak Island, and then go to work. Or park in the train station parking lot. Because that's not fair to the residents who live there and can't park. You're not
Right.
taking up a space 5 days a week.
No, I understand, but it's only 8 hours. It's not. And,
Yeah, this isn't a, we're finding out this isn't a perfect system, so,
and I'm giving birth in November. I'm gonna stay with her in a few days.
okay. Oh, don't get upset, I'm sure we'll figure something out for you. Okay. We'll work it out, I can't give you an answer right now how that's gonna be enforced, but we'll figure something out. Does she have a driveway? Is there a driveway?
That her mother could put the car in the street and she could park in the driveway.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Just
Yes,
get-
ma'am.
I will help
Just
you.
get the visitor pass and put it on the car.
Yeah. Just get a visitor pass, put it on your car, and you'll be all set. Right.
Is there a system that really should happen for people who are living there and not should come? Only use the system. Do it.
Okay.
What is this doing? What do new people do? They move to a street that has stickers.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if they just moved in, if they're just moving in,
Yeah, they want to visit, I mean, go to parking control, explain to them they're moving in. And then get, pass the parking until they be,
before.
stop trade over, they like to move this stuff, trade it over.
Do they get time? I mean, do they have,
There should be
Usually-
a reasonable time period for it, I mean, as long as they know.
Usually
the guys
it's-
know the neighborhood.
oh, okay, usually it's the neighbors who have come, I've had 2 neighbors come to me asking me, what do I do? Because we've lived there so long. And they were, their very first day in the building while they were, as soon as the trucks left, they got a ticket.
Okay, they should go on parking control and inform the parking clerk that they moved to the neighborhood and get temporary, pass to park there for right now. And they have so many days to get the car registered in
And a
Revere.
lot of time-
Once
yeah,
the
they
car's
have to
registered
get-
in Revere, they can apply for the permit.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
May I just end this?
Yes.
Because I know it's been long. I just want the public to know that it's not an outrageous fee for a permit, for a parking sticker. It's $5, and it's $2.50 for a visitor pass. So people are saying, oh, I'm going to pay $25, $10. I mean, these numbers are crazy. It's $5 for a permit parking ticket.
Thank you very
Sticker.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4, Revere on the Move requests that the Traffic Commission hold a public hearing to add bike boxes at the following locations: Broadway at Beach, Broadway at Yeaman, Broadway at Park, and Broadway at Central. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this?
Julie DeMauro, Healthy Community Initiatives
That's a
Office. This is just in preparation for our striping plan for Broadway. Once we get our contract back for the striping contract, and we're hoping to color in our bike lanes and add some additional bike boxes at the different intersections.
Okay. Thank you very much, Julie.
Mr. Chairman, are these bike boxes going in the street?
Okay, we're going to move that to a public hearing.
I just want to ask a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
The
Are the
bike
bike
boxes-
boxes going in the street?
The bike
Yes.
boxes are going at the intersection at the street. So as you see it on the diagram I drew for you, I had to do it.
So are we removing parking spaces?
No, you're not moving anything.
that's
It's
all I
right
wanna
at the
know.
light. It's right at the light, and if you want to take a left and you're on a bike, you get yourself in this little queue.
Oh, I thought it
And-
was to store the bikes.
No, we're not, it's
We'll
a
get to that.
traffic control
Okay,
device for bikes.
okay. Mr. Chairman, while Julie's here, can we discuss the number of bikes?
Sure, if you...
So
1 minute.
what we're
Are you
going to
prepared to speak
do
about
is,
that?
what we're going to do is that after the month is over, we are either going to decrease or increase the fleet, but you have to let it ride out for a month.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm waiting for the data to come back. They've only been here 2 weeks. I've already addressed certain concerns from certain counselors about bikes being in certain spots. I'm also addressing concerns from residents about bikes being left too long. Now, I've sent them many emails. I've asked them to be removed from Friendly Garden. I sent them an email yesterday to dissipate the number of bikes at the lower end of Broadway. At the end of the month, we will look at the data. If the bikes have not been ridden more than one time, then we are going to decrease the fleet by 15%. But I can't do anything until the month is over.
Okay, but I see when they rolled out the bikes, they had 10 to 15 bikes on each block, 4-block area, there was 100 bikes. I just thought that was excessive, and I'm not blaming you, but a lot of people are complaining about it. And it's hurting the program, because I do believe in the program, but we need to manage it a little better.
And I do, and I am hearing the same complaints. But like I said, I've sent off 3 emails in the last week and a half asking for certain locations for those bikes to be dissipated. And just so everybody knows, on Saturday, I was driving down Broadway. There was a whole slew of bikes that were knocked over. I picked them up myself. So I must have picked up about 40 bikes and rearranged them so there wouldn't be any issues with anybody thinking they weren't set up nicely.
Julie, if this continues and is successful for the company, is there a chance, and I know they can't put bike racks in every location, but like main places like Broadway, would it be possible that they put some bike stands so the people would put the bikes in the stands?
We can put the city can put bike stands there. If you want a docking system, that's another.
No, not a docking, so
Okay.
just a rack.
So we, the city, can put up additional bike racks if it becomes, but the issue with that is it's a dockless system, so they are not required to park it at a bike rack. They are required to park it so that it's not obstructing the public way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion to move to a public hearing, number 4.
Second.
The wording was wrong, this is the public hearing for that.
Yes, the wording is a little...
I worded it
Th-
wrong,
This
I
is,
did.
this is the public hearing, so we...
Motion
So
to,
can I
Motion
have
to,
I have a question? Quick
Yes,
question?
go ahead.
Julie, these 4 places, the bikes, so the bike boxes are for turning bicycles. Is there any provision for bike lanes or sharrows on these 4 streets?
Not at this time. This is just basic, just bike boxes. We are going to be looking at Beach Street for the next sharrows or bike lanes.
So then, would it make sense to hold off on the bike boxes until there's a bike lane for them to turn into?
Broadway currently has a bike lane and sharrows. These are for Broadway at these intersections.
Right, but the
Correct.
bike boxes are for turning, not for
For turning, right.
traveling. So it would be for turning into another bike lane on another street.
No.
Well, I don't,
But by law, if you're a cyclist, you can ride on the road. So, and what we are seeing is we're seeing more cyclists ride with traffic on the road. And it's actually these cyclists that we're seeing that actually get in front of the cars before they take the left onto whichever left turning lane they take. The data from Lime Bike, we actually get to see where the people are going. We can see daily. And so Beach Street is really the next area that would be striped. So it would be Beach, and would have to stop at Shirley Ave, but we could definitely, at Bell Circle, but we could definitely look at that.
So it would be just regardless of if there's a bike lane, because you can use it, you can ride with traffic anyway.
That's correct, that's the law, that's the
Okay.
state law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion to accept number 4.
okay, a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, all opposed? Okay, we have bike boxes.
Thank you.
Number 5, install a public hearing to install a parking meter at 122 Broadway. Anyone in favor of this? 122 Broadway, I took a look at this myself. It looks as though they moved a bus stop, and that created a spot that,
The parking,
I believe this was
City?
Councilor Keefe, but
okay.
122 is down by the Speakeasy, on that side, just prior to the Speakeasy. Why don't we table this and ask Mr. Rose, the parking clerk, if this is now a legal spot, and if it is, we could certainly put a meter.
Motion to table.
Second.
Second, the table. We've already taken up number 6, requests to go to a public hearing, number 1, 2, and 3. We've already done. Number 4, a request from Ralph DeChico from the Commission on Disabilities to hold a public hearing for the installation of HP parking signs at 33 Washington Street and 48 Pitcairn Street.
Make a motion to...
Motion speaks for itself.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to move this to a public hearing.
Second.
Second. All in favor, all opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this concludes the
Well,
traffic.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
there's a late request, actually, by the police department. The chief is probably aware of this. The police department is looking to have the Mass DOT install sensors in the roadway on Revere Beach Parkway before the Route 16 Revere Beach Parkway intersection, those signals. Right now, they are preempted for emergency vehicles, but by the time the police department wants the sensors in the road well before they hit the sensors, right before the signals.
Okay.
So they can move traffic through, because they're having a difficult time getting through the traffic that's clogging up that intersection at Route 16. So if we could put a letter of request together for Mass DOT, District Highway Engineer, District 4, to have sensors installed, and I'd leave it up to the police chief to determine where those sensors should be and how far they should be from the intersection.
Mr. Chair, I think the
Yes, Chief.
thought, Jay Mazzola's thought was to put it on the underpass, which will activate the lights
Okay.
up at the parkway, because the line of sight, you have to be up to the underpass before it activates the
Okay.
lights.
Point of information, I got a late email from Sergeant Janino, basically stating, I think that opticon, if it's raised up maybe 4 feet, it can remain in that same location, and it'll work effectively.
Yeah, I went by there yesterday, and I looked at the Opticon on the police car with the vehicles in front of me up the hill, and there was a blind spot going over the hill. But if you look about 4 feet over, and they put the sensor up there aiming towards the parkway, there should be no problem between the cruisers and the fire trucks putting it up. And as far as trying to move it down
So
Trying
you,
to wire it, to move it down, you have to move it to the lights before the bridge, and then run a wire back up again. I don't see that happening, but, I mean, putting it on a 4 or 5 foot pole, I don't see a problem with that.
so I would just ask that Sergeant Janino reach out to Mass Highway and try to resolve this.
Okay, sounds fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Sergeant, thank you.
As far as the parking meters on Broadway, I'm pretty sure, I can't find it right now, but I think Broadway's already in the books for the meters,
Okay,
unless otherwise posted, which is a 2-hour parking we did. So that would be up to Mr. Rose anyways.
okay, 122.
I'd just table that there until whenever.
Make a determination. Okay, that's fine. This concludes the Traffic Commission meeting of Thursday, September 27th. Adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, thank you.